How is the lighting, by the way? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening and welcome to the 8th episode of Essential Reads. George Orwell, in an essay about why we read, said this: "We write out of sheer egoism, desire to seem clever, to be talked about, to be remembered after death, to get your own back on the grown-ups who snubbed you in childhood, etc., etc. It is humbug to pretend this is not a motive." Orwell says we write to be admired, to put it in short. But honestly, I think George Orwell was wrong. Fame, admiration, self centered vanity aren't really what we are looking for. We write to connect. The truth is, being known, being loved is so much better than being admired. So, today we have with us a famous writer from Canada, Sharon Ledwith. She is the author of the young adult time travel adventure series, The Last Timekeepers, and the teen psychic mystery series, Mysterious Tales from Fairy Falls. Sharon lives a tranquil yet hectic life in a southern tourist region of Ontario, Canada. Welcome, Sharon. Welcome to this episode.
Hi. Thank you for having me again. We've had so many technical difficulties and problems. We finally got together. I can't even see myself, but at least I can see you and everybody out there watching. So thank you for this opportunity to shine.
And you have made it on time. And the audience will be curious and eager to know much more about you. So we'll be happy if you could introduce yourself as a writer. What made you a writer? Your childhood experiences, did they have an impact on you as a writer? And all such things can be shared by you right now to our audience.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, it's been quite a journey for me anyway, because I didn't really start writing until I was mid-30s. I started learning to do the writing process. First of all, my name is Sharon Ledwith, and I am the author. I'm a young adult author. That's my genre. I love doing it. I find I have that voice that goes there to connect with young adults and many adults too. I write 2 series, as you said. I've got them here, so hopefully I can't. First one is the Last Timekeepers series, which is a time travel adventure series for young adults. This is the first one in the series, and then the prequel. I wrote the second because I wanted to explain a lot of the time traveling, how they do that time traveling, and it goes back to, it has roots in Atlantis, so that was kind of really fun to write. So it kind of explains a lot of the series, the background. And then this is the second book in this series called The Last Timekeepers and the Dark Secret, which the kids travel to World War II and Amsterdam time. And they just have a blast in the past. That's my little motto for that. In my second series, I've written actually sort of based on my life living up north in cottage country, Ontario in Canada. And it's a teen psychic mystery series. So the teens get plopped in this place called Fairy Falls, and that's where they develop, or their psychic powers, if you will, or psychic abilities awaken. And the first one in the series is called Lost and Found, and it's about a young girl who can connect with animals and communicate with animals, and she's given the task to save the shelter, the animal shelter there at Fairy Falls. And then the second one is called Black Flies and Blueberries, and this has a male protagonist, a 17-year-old guy who can communicate with objects. So he finds a ring, and there's a murder connected to the ring, and he goes along and solves it, and he connects with the person that lost the ring. So the next one I'm writing is Sticks and Stones, but the next Timekeepers one is coming out September the 17th, and it's entitled The Last Timekeepers and the Noble Slave. Okay, so for my humble beginnings, I've always loved to tell stories in my mind, and I've never really thought I could be a storyteller, but I've always had a great imagination. So when I had a chance to take a course in planning your novel, I took it and found that I was so interested in it that I decided to take planning your novel course. And from there, it just bloomed, and I wrote a novel, which is not published yet, but it got me in a lot of doors, and it, I don't know, I just love the process of writing, and the rejection. I mean, it's been a crazy journey so far. So I think like when you start writing, sorry, I'm a little bit. Okay, so basically the journey of publication was not easy for me. It took me a very long time to get where I am now, because as I said, I didn't start writing until 1995, so that's a long ways away. And so I chose a paranormal romance at the time. I wasn't even too sure on what that wasn't even that genre wasn't even developed then, and it took me about 2 years to write it. Including the research and learning the basics, because I was learning from ground level, plotting, character development, and all that. And I attended a workshop and met an agent that was very interested in the concept of this novel. So with that, I sent it to her, and we kind of worked on it together for a couple of years. But it ended up being, she went her way and I went mine. So there's been a lot of ups and downs in this industry, for me anyway. And around 1998, I had this awesome dream where I saw 7 arches and there were 7 people, and it had like an Indiana Jones feel to it, and they were all carrying crystals. And that's how I developed the idea for the Last Timekeepers series. So I wrote the book, and I pitched it out there, more rejection. I decided to keep going. I'm a very patient and a persevering person, and thankfully, I wasn't going to get to where I am now. But I continued to write and develop my skills, hone my craft. I did another Last Timekeepers, and then we moved up to our cottage, and I developed another series, still not published, but still keep going and still learning. And then I got a lucky break, I guess, when I was when I met one of my author friends who was just published, and she said, "Hey, try these people." She gave me the wrong link, and I sent it to another company who loved the idea and the concept of the Last Timekeepers. So they accepted the novel. This was in 2011, so it took me that long to get there. So anyway, that said, I'm here now, and I've got 5 books, 6 coming out. I'm still always learning, still always growing. Obviously, I have a problem with technical problems, but yeah, I'm doing well as far as I'm concerned, and I love the publisher I'm with now, which is Mirrorworld Publishing, which is locally around this area, and we get to go on. We do a lot of shows together, a lot of book shows, book festivals, things like that. So, anything else? I must be missing something.
It was very nice to know your experiences. We got Sharon in this position today. It's all because of your perseverance, and that is the core which is essential for almost all the writers. They shouldn't lose hope and keep trying, and that's the idea that you have given to our audience right now.
Oh yeah, you got to have that stick-to-itness, you know.
So getting into the questioning part, the interview session.
Sure.
In the popular culture, time travel has a great influence taken from movies and TV serials. Where does your inspiration come from to take up this interesting journey?
Well, I've always been a fan of time travel anyway, but when I started getting into the American author Diana Gabaldon, you probably heard of her through her Outlander series. She does a time travel romance. I think she pretty much invented that genre, and it was through that I really loved the concept of it. And then, of course, when I had that dream, and I wanted to write something that would my son might read back then. So I developed the time travel. Like I took that idea with going back in time, and of course the premise of this series is that you can't change history. The history has already been written. So the kids, like the seven main characters, there's 5 of the kids, which are the main characters. They go back in time to make sure it does not change. So basically, and they're fighting this evil Atlantean force who lives in one of the arches of Atlantis. So it's it's quite a journey. But yeah. So as I said, back to the time travel thing. Yeah, I learned a lot from reading Diana Gabaldon's books, and just the way her character development and the description and dialogue. And the amount of research she did. I always loved to research. That's the one part I did. So I think it was kind of like a marriage with my love of research and history, and all things ancient, and marrying the idea of the last timekeepers.
So your work too involves a lot of research, and that's how your works have come out now.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you recount an instance in your life where you introduced yourself as a writer, and how did you feel of having achieved this status?
Well, yeah, I can. And I remember it very well. And at that introduction, it didn't come for a very long time. I had so many barriers to breakthrough because I started writing from the ground zero. So learning from the basics. I know I had a great imagination, and so as a child, I would create characters and drag them on a journey with me, and I continued to do that over in my head. So when I finally introduced myself as a real writer, I was in front of a classroom sharing my experiences, hopefully not scaring them off, but sharing my experiences with them. And I really had mixed feelings when I came out as a writer, I suppose, because I did feel like a fraud. I did, because I said, well, I'm not published, but you don't have to be published to be a writer, right? So, but I did feel from that time a very big sense of accomplishment. That comes with all the hard work to craft a novel. So in that respect, that feeling, I mean, you can't take that away from anybody,
So maybe you're a bit nostalgic right now, recollecting and sharing it with us.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Can you mention a person in your personal life who is your greatest fan and someone whom you may regard as your harshest critic?
Okay. Mostly it's kids so far, because they just seem to the joy on their faces after I sign a book and give it to them is just, I mean, you can't, money doesn't buy that. Let's face that. There's been a few fans that come to mind, and a lot of people like on reviews and that just they get me. There's like Crystal, Jordan, Nadine, Madison, to name a few. They're probably my greatest fans. My family, they like my books and that they support me, but I don't know if they like the genre. So you have to have the right audience, the right target audience for that. As for my harshest critic is me. Okay, it is me. I've learned to sort of ignore that critic. You have to. You just have to get it. Just like yeah. I think everybody has that voice. So yeah.
Receiving criticism from the external world is something common. We usually find a writer admiring his or her own works. It is amusing to know that you are your harshest critic. Maybe this voice in you helps to bring the best out of you.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there a point when a writer can quit his day job to pursue a full-time career in writing? Will writers know when to do this?
I would say yes, they do, but it depends, of course, on the person's lifestyle and if they have someone to support, like a small family, a young family, or even in retirement. It's more so a lot of them do it then. But these days, the huge advances that the certain publishers will give have really gone by the wayside in a way. There's only certain ones that get them. I mean, if you're lucky to get that, then that's awesome. So writers really have to wear a lot of hats to support their labor of love. I guess the best answer is when those royalty checks and other author income streams, like audiobooks or speaking engagements or whatever else the author loves to do, when they can cover the author's expenses or of whatever, and or even have some gravy in there, then I think that's the best time.
So
it takes a long time.
Financial backup is a must for a writer to take it to make it full time.
Oh yeah. It takes a while, even for publishing businesses, that they still have their second job. So basically, a lot of them say don't quit their day job, which is true. And if you can, that's great. I was lucky enough we had a business started when I was young, and we managed to sell it. So I was able to pursue my labor of love and do this. So I was lucky.
That has got us, Sharon Ledwith, today. Your luck has brought out the writer in you to all your audience.
Thank you.
What do you think about self-publishing? Does it have any benefit over publishing houses?
It can. But I think self-publishing is not for the faint of heart. I think you have to be that certain person to do that. There's a lot of work and costs involved, of course, right? And sometimes they don't even retrieve the cost there because it costs so much to hire an editor, cover designer, book formatter, and then of course on top of everything else, doing like your book marketing and social promotion. If you want to hire someone to do a book tour, there's all that costs involved, right? So you're depending on how much you've got invested in it. But one of the good things about self-pubbing is that you get to keep most of the royalties. That's the nice part about it. So if you're a successful one, that's awesome. But a lot of them aren't as. It's sort of like they're not their day job. It's not their day job. It's their fun job. So and if you don't hire somebody professional, there's going to be a lot of mistakes in it. You can have the best cover in the world, but if it's riddled with mistakes, grammar and errors or anything, or it looks awful formatted, then it's going to look all. You're going to get a bad name in the industry, and people are not going to buy your books. But with my I'm with a small press traditional publisher, and we split the royalties 50-50. So she does a lot of the cover. She does the cover design. She does the formatting. She does the she does some of the promotions, and she does the editing, which is a major thing. And she'll push me to do my best. So, and that's the part I like. So I love the support and the teamwork involved in that aspect, where as you're a self-published author, you're kind of by yourself. You're team number author. So that's I think is it's not for me. But I know a lot of people that do it and they love it. And that's, you have to follow your heart in that respect.
It saves much of your labor and at the same time, your full potential as a writer you can focus more on your writing. If
Yes,
you're
yes.
going to go with a traditional publisher.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that's what I find.
Writers like G.B. Shaw were said to have a separate cabin just for writing.
Mhm.
Where do you place your writing station?
Right where I am sitting with you here now. It's I'm really lucky to have my own office. It's one of the bedrooms, but I've converted it into an office. I have a beautiful large L-shaped desk my husband made me. He's very handy, and a couple of tall bookshelves to put all the books in, my research materials, everything I need, and a comfy little chair that I can read the novels I buy or do the research, or for my cat even, who's my little muse.
As a writer, as a woman writer, maybe setting up an office has given you the freedom to set yourself away from your domestic chores a bit.
Yes, it's
And
perfect. Yeah,
work.
my husband always says, "Are you coming out of that room?" As if I'm hibernating in here, and I go, "Just a minute," you know. So no, yeah, I pretty much spend a good portion of my day in here.
Okay. As a writer, what substance do you find it challenging to write? Why? What is the reason behind?
The reason?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I thought you meant a subject about that. What's the reason why I write? Is that what you mean?
What is most difficult in writing? What is the concept that you find it very difficult to write?
Oh dear. Well, that's a good question. I don't really find it difficult. I think the time, like sometimes finding time, believe it or not, because you've got so much to do in the author world. Like as I said, with the social media you have to do now, a lot of it's left to the authors, especially if you're self-pubbed. And with me, I still have a good portion. I have like a plan a day where I have to work out my day and then, carve time in there to write. The writing part, I love I'm doing an outline right now for the next Mysterious Tales from Fairy Falls. But in the meantime, it's the juggling part, like with the two series, one's coming out. So I've got to wait for edits to come in and then get back to that. So it's like a dance between the two of them. But I think I just love the whole process of writing. It's never boring. I try, to give it the time it requires. But I guess just the process of the whole, outlining and then creating the characters and then finally formulating the plot and putting it all together. And that takes a lot of time, believe it or not. People think it's easy. Let's face it, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it, right?
For people like me, writing itself is the biggest challenge that we could face. We have so many thoughts popping up, but putting it in the form of words is going to be really very difficult, a Herculean task for a common man like me.
Yeah.
Can you cite an instance where you got a brilliant thought in an inappropriate moment which you had developed later in your novel?
Yes. Yeah. Well, when my son was had this horrid girlfriend, and this is the truth for everybody, every author, and I'm warning everybody here that if you've ticked an author off, you may find yourself maybe not in your name in the book, but your personality or in the book, and they will hurt you. So it was sort of like I was like getting revenge on my son's horrid ex-girlfriend by making her a character in one of my books. Let's just say it didn't end well for her. So I think that's the fun part with writers in general, that they get to say, well, instead of actually saying something to them or doing we can create a scene and say, okay, and deal with it that way. It saves a lot on therapy, I think.
Sharon, out of curiosity, what was your son's reaction to this?
He doesn't know.
Maybe after this interview, maybe he's going to have a discussion with you regarding this.
He may.
Okay.
But it was funny. Yeah.
If you were deserted on an island, which 3 people would you want to have with you? What would be the reason behind that?
Okay. Well, I had to really think about that. And I figure, okay, well, there's so many shows like with deserted islands or movies with deserted islands. So I'm going, okay, I definitely want my husband because he's handy. Like he made my desk, but he's a very handy man. He's like almost a carpenter kind of thing. So he'd have some kind of shelter built for us for that night with all the stuff around. And then the second, my son, because he's an engineer, so hopefully he'd figure out a way to get us off the island, right? And and then I thought, well, what else happens on a deserted island? You're going to need some medical help. So perhaps my doctor would like to be dragged along too, but I don't think she'd like it too much. So that's the 3, and that's the reasons.
Now you have cited 3 people whom you would feel that they would be of some use during that situation.
Yes. It's like a team.
Emotionally connected people. Whom do you want to be by your side?
Oh, emotionally connected? Well, my husband. My son for sure. Let me think. Oh, and my daughter, Jenny, because she is in the medical field. So.
So emotional connection along with the purpose you want to find.
There you go. We all have a purpose.
Okay. So out of the protagonists you have written about so far, which one do you feel you relate to the most? Why?
Oh, yeah. Definitely Trina Mui, who's in the Last Timekeeper series. And the reason is because we both have the same sense of humor. She cracks me up, and it must come from me. I don't know. And she's got a very positive outlook, and she's very imaginative. She's got an imaginative mind too, because she sort of wants to be an actress. So she's, playing roles, going back in time and playing certain roles, and she's kind of the cheerleader of the time travel team. So I think that she kind of boosts them up, at least, when things are down. So I like that part of her. She never gives up, right?
Maybe you see Trina Moy as a representation of Sharon.
Pardon me?
Maybe you see your protagonist Trina Moy as your representation, your depiction.
Yeah. Yeah. She's going to be in the next time travel book coming out after this one. I don't know when it's going to be because I'm writing notes and that on it now. That's the thing, you get to do like notes as you're doing a series because I planned it all out. So
of all the characters that you have developed, which character was most challenging to create and what is the reason behind?
Oh, yeah, that would be Drake Bailey. He's the protagonist that's coming up in the next Timekeeper book, which is the Last Timekeepers and the Noble Slave. Each of my 5 major characters have their own books, which is kind of nice and very and different too. For me, it's a big challenge. But he's the youngest, and he's the genius of the bunch, of the group of my time travelers. And when I first submitted the book, even my publisher had a little bit of a hard time finding his voice. So it came back to me for edits. This is what happens, and I had to find his voice and get it up, raise it from his voice. And then I realized that I felt intimidated by his intellect because he's the smartest one, right? He's the genius. And I think it came from where that came from was I never felt smart in school, like as a girl growing up in school, and I felt kind of dumb. So, but once I understood that, and I thought it wasn't true, it's not true, it never was, I found his voice and my genius. So through that challenge, meeting that challenge, I found a part of myself in him as well, and I love him.
So you're able to feel all your characters,
Yeah.
and that makes it special.
Oh, it does. It does. Yeah. And you know what? Readers can sense that in when they read. They really can. They can just know when something's authentic.
Are any of your characters based on real people you know? Can you describe that character if you have created one like that?
Yes, I can. Yeah, there's a couple based on people I know, and unfortunately they're both deceased, but they left an impact on me, and I wanted to immortalize them. So this next book that's coming out, The Last Timekeepers and the Noble Slave, I created a character called Dixie Dewar. She is with the Underground Railway in the timekeeper mission happens in 1855 in Georgia in the States. So it's not a really great time in history for, especially Black people, but Dixie Dewar is with the Underground Railway. Anyway, I based it on a friend who was crippled from muscular dystrophy. And she looks a lot like my friend in appearance and her mannerisms and the way she talked. So it was kind of my way of honoring her. And I thought she would be a very interesting character to have in that position. So, yeah. And another character from my book, Black Flies and Blueberries, I had a character named Gertie Ellis, and she was my teen psychic mystery series, of course. And she's has my deceased mother-in-law's quirkiness and charm immortalized. I just wanted to put her spirit, I guess is the right word, in a character, and she's been well received. A lot of people love that character. So she may make a cameo in my next book. So yeah,
your observation plays a crucial role in bringing up your characters.
Yes. Yeah.
What's your favorite underappreciated novel? Many novels have got their own recognition, but you would have put your heart and soul into the framing of a particular novel which you thought would be the best, but it went underappreciated. Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, I can. I'm going to show it to you first. It's this one here. It's The Last Timekeepers in the Dark Secret. And I loved creating and crafting that novel. And I enjoyed the twists and turns I created to keep of course, the readers guessing. It was really fun. But the story takes place in Amsterdam during World War II in 1942. And the timekeepers are given a mission to find and protect a mysterious book, and before it falls into the hands of the Nazis. I felt it was quite a page turner, filled with plenty of historical facts, and I even included a cameo of a very famous young heroine in this book. But I just felt it didn't get the like you said, the appreciation of the novel, or the notice of it that I thought it would for some reason. But that's what happens. Like as I said, I love all the books I put out, and I do my best, and every author will say that too. So that's the one is my favorite underappreciated one.
Though the novel is underappreciated, you would have had your own satisfaction as a writer to have brought it out. I did,
and I was glad I did. It's mine to share with the world.
The feedback that you receive for your books, they matter a lot. Do you read your book reviews? How do you deal with the good ones, and how do you deal with the bad ones?
Well, I used to read them a lot. And I didn't actually. I never got 1 stars, which is good. I hope I don't get any now. But I never got any 1 stars. I think the lowest I got was 3, which isn't bad. But there was some criticism there, and I just thought after a while, to check them, you're pleasing everybody else. You have to please yourself first, and then you know before you can please you shouldn't even be worried about them. Basically, I think that's my whole thing. Books will either resonate with readers or they won't. I mean, I know a lot of people have given J.K. Rowling's 1 star, and I mean, that's Harry Potter. So if I get a 1 star, then I'm in good company anyway. But yeah, I think that part of the journey of being a writer is shrugging off the bad reviews anyway. You're going to get them, or you're not going to like something that a reader has said because they didn't get you. But just shrug them off unless they offer you some constructive criticism, something that you can use for a next book. So I think, that's my reaction to that.
So your positive outlook to reviews has enabled you to develop yourself a lot.
Yeah, definitely. You just have to shrug them off because you're going to get them anyway. So,
being a woman, does your family support your career as a writer? What is the role of your family in your writing profession?
They are supportive. As far as coming to events, book launches, events, going to book shows, and book shows, craft shows, wherever I am, most of the time, or when they can, or readings when I do them. And they buy my books. I don't know if they read them, but they buy my books, so I'm really grateful for that. And I know their biggest thing is to be the word of mouth people. So I think that's where the support comes from. They tell their friends, they tell their colleagues, they tell their friends, like on social media, they let people know. And for that, I'm grateful for them doing that. So basically they're my own personal cheerleaders as far as I'm concerned, that they get the word out about my books. And that I don't think you could ask for anything else unless you've got a family member that knows how to promote and or it's really good on social media. Then I've got a good family base that helps me out as much as they can.
They are the first buyers.
Yeah.
Do you listen to their reviews? Do you listen to their feedback?
Yes, I do actually. And I think, okay, well, some of them, like my brother, he said he really liked the last Timekeepers, and then he had some criticism about something. I think one of the Fairy Falls ones, and he says, "Well, you shouldn't have said that," and whatever it was. And but that was his opinion, and I appreciated it. And that's when you got to take what he means with love, right? And use it if and be careful or understand what he means by that, and just use it to your best ability and say, okay, thank you for that, or just ignore it. But I just, like, it was already published anyway, so I just said, okay, thank you, I'll keep that in mind for the next one. So that's what you do.
That would be really nice to discuss something about what you do with your family members.
Yeah, it is. It's nice. I mean, a lot of them, as I said, they're busy with their lives too, right? And I honestly, I don't think they understand what it is to be an author. I think they think I'm available 24/7. So that, like, well, can you come over here? Can you do this? I'm going, I'm writing. Like, I think one thing writers have to establish with their families is boundaries. So I think if anyone's going to get a message, that's a good message.
Sharon, I have a silly question to ask. Why do you write? Why do you really write? Is it about fame, vanity, or celebrity? Or is it something deeper than that?
At first, when I got the idea, I just pictured like those big book launches and the movies and all. I mean, we all have, so please. But I do write because I have something to say that no one else can, like because it's me. My experiences, my feelings, my interests, what I know, and what I discover are really worth sharing. I believe in story form, in however I my through my creative expression, and I guess I've been given this wild imagination for a reason. I always wondered why. Why did I think the way I thought? Like, why am I making up stories in my head? Why won't they go away anyway? But I thought, why not share it with the world and just see what happens. It's been a great journey so far. I've been really lucky in that respect. I'm going to say, yeah, it's not really about fame, vanity. Never was about vanity. Celebrity, maybe a little bit about that, and or money. Let's face it, we all like to have some money for what we do, because that's why we're here too. We have to survive. And I said those things would be really nice. But I've got something deep to express, and I figure what better way to do that through the written word, through books or blogs or however I can get it out there to share, and whoever receives it or ever buys it or ever resonates with it will get it, will enjoy it.
So. Something which is there within you to express, and that getting an outlet itself would be a wonderful feeling.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It absolutely is.
As we all know, pen is mightier than the sword. It has its own impact. How do you change people with your writing?
Well, I'm hoping to do it one book at a time. That's my goal. But I have an intention that I just want to leave the world, and basically it's my intention to write and publish uplifting stories, so happier stories, lighter stories, lighthearted stories, to make the world a happier and hopeful place to live, and something I can leave the world when I go. I know that sounds grandiose, but that's really what I want to do. I just want, I used to tell jokes as a kid too, and make people laugh. I would always try to look like, if someone was unhappy, I would try to, bring them up, uplift them.
So
like you're doing to me right.
That makes you an ideal writer.
Oh, thank you.
What do you think is your uniqueness? What makes you feel, what can you write that no one else can? What makes you unique?
Oh, okay. My own story. Okay, no one else has experienced my own story, my life, I guess, except for me. Not that I've gone time traveling or anything, but we all have our own authentic voice, and we can share with the world, no matter what it is you do, no matter what your purpose is. You have to find your voice. People will listen to it, especially if they like you. It's a connection, and that's why we're here. We're here to connect, and some people will connect better with others. So my hope is that I found my voice, and I'm always seeking to better my voice so that I can connect with more people and resonate with more people. So I think that's it in a nutshell.
So connecting yourself with your readers, that matters the most.
Yes. Yeah. Engaging and I may not have a heck of a lot of readers right now, but I'm hoping, it goes over time. And that's another thing with this. I'm in for the long haul. Starting back in the 90s and finally getting published in the, or like 2012, which is when my book was published. I'm in for the long haul, and you grow and you evolve through your writing, and hopefully you gain more readership through that. It's all about word of mouth.
And to the final question, what is the best piece of advice that you will give to young writers who are aspiring to write in the same genre as you do?
Okay.
The advice to the writers.
Yeah. Okay. I think that they need to y'all need to take your time. You need to not rush this whole writing process. It is totally a process. You have to learn about character development. You can't slap a story together and put it out there. You just need to take your time. You need to practice. Well, first of all, my whole thing is patient. It's practice, perseverance, and patience. That's the best advice I can offer anybody who wants to do writing, because it is all about honing your skills. It is all about writing for yourself first, right? Figure out what you want to write, and getting everything out there. Your first draft is going to be crap. It is. And as you learn to revise and, as I said, hone your skills, it'll come. It'll come, depending on how successful you get or not. But that's my advice, is to just don't rush it. Take your time. Enjoy the process of writing itself, because it's a short life, and you want to enjoy every moment of it. So yeah, that's it.
Definitely our audience are going to take your advice into account, because it is this perseverance and patience which has brought you, Sharon Ledwith, to this extent.
Yes.
So
yes, hopefully it will bring me more too, because hopefully I'll use it to keep going.
You yourself are a living example for this, the suggestion, the advice that you have given to the audience. So definitely I feel that they are going to follow this. So with this said, let's move on to the next segment, the rapid fire section. It's going to be,
goodness. It's like a game show, isn't it?
Yeah. We have silly questions coined here, and all you have to do is try to make your answers as quick as possible, so as you answer the maximum number of questions, and let the answers be as brief as possible.
Okay.
Maybe in a word or two.
So no yes or no questions, it's answer.
Yeah. Maybe you'll have to be quick in thinking.
Okay. Oh, this is going to be fun. Yeah. With the morning we've had, it's going to be fun.
So you'll have 90 seconds in your hands.
Okay, hold on. Let me have a sip of water. Okay.
So all set. You just wait for the first question.
Okay.
Here we go.
Oh,
what
goodness.
makes you smile immediately?
Oh, goodness. I've already. My reflection.
What would you do if you lost all ability to read and write for a day?
Oh, I listen to music.
What is the first thing you do when you get up in the morning?
Get a coffee and feed the cat. Perhaps feed the cat.
What is one item you could never live without?
Oh, oh, this is hard. Sorry. Sorry. My life. My humor.
If you could change your name, what would it be?
Yeah. Oh, oh God, God, goddess. You asked.
What's one thing your mother or father taught you that completely changed your life?
To stand up for myself.
What is one thing about you that surprises people?
My humor.
So that's it. You have answered around 9 questions. It's interesting.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's it. Oh,
Yeah, that's it. 90 seconds is over. You could have tried more.
That was fun. It was fun.
Let us move on to the Q&A session from the audience.
Okay.
So we have a question from Raj.
Okay.
Do you prefer to write in one long session or in short bursts?
Oh, long session. Long session for sure.
Long sessions.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have any reason behind that?
Yeah, usually I have, like, as I said, I have a plan of what I'm doing. I'm more of a intuitive plotter. So I have like my board, my storyboard. I have a storyboard. So I take what I'm working on and then I sit down and that's what I'm working on that day or that afternoon or however. I try to do like 3 hours, 4 hours, depending. I mean, with the other stuff I have to do, but with that and sit there and try to get some, it's not just short bursts, but it's just, the dialogue is very easy for me. So that part's easy. It's just the other stuff you have to put in.
And the next question is from Mr. Shankar.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read any novel recently that surprised you in a good way?
Mm-hmm. A novel, or does it have to be fiction or nonfiction, or does it matter? It has to be a story, right? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've been reading The Greatest Secret, so I really am enjoying that, and it has surprised me in certain ways. Just the way you live your life and your purpose, and I try to bring some of that type of knowledge into my books. So that would be sort of my surprise, I guess. I know that's a hard question to ask, I guess. Nothing really as a novel, but that, I think I'm enjoying that, and I'm doing a lot of research, as I said. So it's the research and the sorry, I'm rambling now, but yeah, it's that, and I like to try to put the stuff I learn and pass it on to my readers into my stories.
There is another question, a personal question maybe from Gina Briganti. What is your cat's name?
My what name? My cat's name.
Yeah,
your Patches. She's a calico.
And another question too. Did you like the Outlander books and TV show?
Oh yeah, I like the TV show a lot better because the books are so thick. And when they did the first year, I think they did the whole book, which I can see. But I like the books and I like the series as well. I follow both. Yes.
And another question from Mr. TK. How do you get your story ideas? Do they come to you automatically, or do you have to think deeply for those ideas?
They come automatically. Once now I have the series going. I kind of planned a lot of it out, but I just jot things down, and it's the research that actually develops the storyline more so. So when I find more information, I go, oh my goodness, I never thought of that. That's perfect. Then it just kind of falls together. So does that answer the question? Sorry.
You did. Thank you, Sharon. It was wonderful having you amidst us. You are so enthusiastic and energetic throughout.
Yeah.
Apart from all those technical details, technological did not cooperate in the beginning. You made it a
No.
lively show for us. We'll be
Well, I
happy
try.
if you could share a few words with the audience to end the session.
Well, first of all, I am so very grateful, for you and your team for inviting me to come onto Essential Reads and just to share my life, my author life, my stories, my books, what it's been like for me. As I said, it was a long road for me to get published. So don't give up if you want to do this kind of thing, in your life too. Any young reader or any young writers or authors out there, just keep going. I want to thank all your followers and the questions I've received for participating and just showing up. I want to thank all my support team too. I mean, I've got such a life support team. We met on social media, on LinkedIn. So just to meet people and connect with people. You never know who you're going to meet. So just be open-hearted to the world and see where it's going to take you. Like it took me right here, right now with you. So very grateful for that. And I thank you so very much.
Thank you, Sharon. It was a wonderful moment talking to you. We enjoyed it like anything. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And I appreciate you and your staff.
Thank you. Thank you. So to the viewers, thank you for joining us this evening. We had a wonderful moment. It's Shashikala signing off from Essential Reads. See you in the next show. Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.